former cop Norman Brennan. Hello, Norman.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin.
Clearly, only one topic to discuss here. Obviously, the nation completely shocked by the killing of Sgt Ratana down at Croydon police station while doing his job, shot dead. Now, this is one of those terrible incidents that I suppose just can happen and always will happen. But I do think it comes after a couple of months in which respect for the police has been disintegrating on the back of all these demonstrators from Black Lives Matter who are saying defund the police, do not respect the police. The police have reported all over the country a diminution of the respect that they usually receive. We've seen footage of cops being attacked by kids on the street. Now, this has to be something to do with what's going on culturally in this country. I do not appreciate it when a program like Britain's Got Talent puts on a dance to support Black Lives Matter. Alicia Dixon, the judge, turns up with a necklace saying Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter want to defund the police, they want to destroy capitalism, and they want to annihilate the nuclear family. What's going wrong, Norman?
Well, I'm afraid that we've got a narrative in Britain where a certain section of the community have gone mad, to be quite frank, after the death of George Floyd, which didn't happen in Britain. Not one single police officer has been convicted of a homicide ever in Britain. Yet the murder of George Floyd by an American police officer suddenly ricochets all around Britain. And I believe there's been an angry element throughout sections of all communities, but in particular now the black community, that quite frankly are holding the police service to ransom in Britain, and they're making it almost impossible for frontline police officers to do their job. There isn't a case now where a police officer stops and searches a black suspect or stops a black suspect without them being called racists. There isn't a stop and search now where there isn't somebody with an iPhone picking out certain sections of that stop, posting it on social media. Yep. Then you've got the black athlete that was stopped. You've got Dawn Butler that was stopped. The police officers that stopped both of those, the first one, they knew that she was black. The second one, they didn't. Both were absolute legitimate stops. Yet the police have been condemned. And it is the black community and all communities of Britain that rely on the police to stop people carrying out criminality, carrying knives, dealing in drugs, carrying guns, stabbing and shooting each other. The police are playing their part, but sadly, certain sections of the BAME community are now crippling the police service with their often nonsensical complaints and biased. The police don't stop and search someone because they're black. They stop and search someone because they believe they are a suspect. They may be carrying a knife. They may be involved in one of the crimes I've just outlined. That is the job of the police. And if that suspect happens to be black, that is a fact. It's nothing more than that. It's nothing to do with racism.
Now, what Black Lives Matter, the organisation, did was they unfairly, perniciously and poisonously conflated American police violence with British police practices. The British police, as you well know, Norman, are nothing like the American police. The American police, I mean, I've lived over there. The American police are like a quasi-military operation. They really do go about their business, sometimes in a very brutal way. And it's nothing like the way the police act or behave in this country. But BLM managed to sell the lie that to the cops who killed George Floyd is representative of cops over here. Now that is a disgrace. And what I also find a disgrace, I'd like your comments on this. What do you think about it when you see on a Saturday night entertainment show, Britain's Got Talent, the diversity dance group doing a dance to support Black Lives Matter, a party political dance in support of Black Lives Matter, and then Alicia Dixon coming on with a necklace saying Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter have affected our culture in a way that the police are being terribly, and now we know dangerously, disrespected. This fawning to this ludicrous organisation has to stop, doesn't it?
Well, I found it absolutely disgusting and repulsive. They were trying to get viewers or more viewers on the back of the death of a black person killed in America. They knew there were huge tensions in Britain, yet they went ahead with something that has nothing to do with Britain on a British show, and it added to, as you say, the narrative that the police are racist, they kill black people, and they pick on people because of the colour of their skin. I didn't watch it. My partner now doesn't watch it. She said, Norman, I was so disgusted, and she's one of the nicest people. I can never even get her to swear when I tell her about most of the dreadful crimes I deal with. I say, surely you will agree that this is effing dreadful. Go on, tell me, love. She said, Norman, I think it's absolutely dreadful. That is the type of person, though, Kevin, that are turning off, that are sick and tired of it. Now, let me be explicitly clear, and I know we haven't got hours.
You've got a while, Norman. Take your time, mate.
Well, firstly, we have lost a colleague, a hard-working, loving father, partner, and outstanding police officer. And this has nothing to do, really, with frontline police officers, those that carried out the stop and search. We will find out exactly what went wrong, and we will obviously learn from that. But the officers involved as well will be distraught. There's only one single person that is involved and is responsible for the death of our colleague, and that is the murderer himself that was in custody. Just slipping back to what we was just saying, I am telling you now, I have been involved in law and order in Britain for 42 years, 31 of them as a frontline police officer. I'm privileged and honoured to be one of Britain's leading law and order campaigners on homicide, the effects of it, gun crime and knife crime. In my police career, and I'm telling you now, and I will tell Sky when I do it in an hour's time, exactly the same. Some of the most dangerous, obstructive and aggressive and violent people I had the misfortune to arrest or stop and search were black suspects. Yes, there were some violent white ones too, don't get me wrong. What they do is they shout, they wave their arms about, they're aggressive, they say, you're stopping me because I'm black. We are stopping them, as I said at the beginning of this program, Kevin, because we suspect that they are involved in some of the most violent, vicious crimes, including many murders on the streets of London and other cities in Britain, and it's our duty to stop them. Now, if we get Black Lives Matter that has come over here, that have got nothing positive to say, only negative, then I'm afraid we are going to put race relations back in Britain by decades. Now, Britain, and don't forget, I've been a police officer. I've represented policing for 27 years, speaking to you, and I defend the police. And sometimes when we get it wrong, I'll say, we've made a mistake. We'll put our hands up so long as we learn from that. That's what being an honest police service is all about. But we have got men and women now that are being condemned for being police officers. Because police officers have a duty, and they swear an oath to protect society and challenge those who frighten society, who commit crime, who think that they can behave against the rules of law. Now, that is the job of the police, and that is what they do. And Black Lives Matter, and people like Alicia Dixon, the Dawn Butler, and many of these others, their complaints are nonsensical, yet they're on every front page of every newspaper, on every radio station. dozens of people that hate the police, including 2 or 3 senior retired police officers. Nothing positive to say. And guess what? They're black. And they have fallen into a narrative where, what is it all about? What is it they want?
Yeah, that's the mystery, isn't it? That is the mystery. What do they want? I would say, Norman, that in terms of Britain's Got Talent and the diversity dance and Alicia Dixon, don't forget nearly 26,000 complaints from appalled viewers who didn't think that they should be politically brainwashed during an entertainment program they're sitting down to watch with their family on a Saturday night. ITV's response: they spent £260,000 on newspaper adverts to say we support diversity, in effect saying we support Black Lives Matter. It specifically, Norman, it seems to me we have to stop this crazed fawning towards this bizarre organisation that stands for everything that we don't stand for. But by all means, Black Lives Matter. I agree, Black Lives Matter. Small b, small l, small m. Black Lives Matter, the big letters, BLM. I don't agree with what they stand for. They stand for the destruction of everything we hold dear. And I cannot understand why all these organisations like ITV are fawning, crawling to this organisation. I don't get it.
With £260,000 by ITV, they've actually got a programme on ITV that's shown day in and day out of black people saying how dreadful life has been for them. None of them have said that they were stopped and searched, racially abused, beaten up, attacked, punched, kicked. They are giving a narrative of anger and hatred, often enough, of their own views or anti-police views. Now, when you go through, I'm an evidence man. I've been an evidence man ever since I was 19, since I learnt law and order. I know it's not a perfect world, but the national mainstream media have stoked up a hatred and anger I've never witnessed in my life. I've never seen it this bad on the streets of London and other areas of Britain. The anger towards police. These youngsters, it should be their parents to educate them, to tell them right from wrong, to tell them how to respect, community spirit, moral fibre and respect. It's not the job of the police. But sadly, and this is all communities, it's the police that have to pick up the pieces. And when you talk about £260,000 from ITV, Black Lives Matter have almost got £1 million, if not more, for a GoFundMe. What is it about? What is it about? I have put together, as you know, Kevin, and I know TalkSport and hope everybody, when I put my crowdfund out, I haven't got a single penny. Guess what I do? Guess what some of the top retired police officers in Britain that are my trustees want to do? We want to make the streets safer. We want to work with communities, both black and white, giving these youngsters something more positive to do with their lives than carry knives, attack each other, and often lose their lives and find themselves facing life imprisonment. We cannot get a bean, and we'll find out in 3 weeks' time what we can do. That's what we want to do, Kevin. That's what serving and retired police officers want to do. We want to put our hands out to the community, make the streets safer, and give them something more worthwhile to do. Now let's ping over to Black Lives Matter. What they want to do is condemn the police, defund the police, the protectors of society. We are the protectors. And if you can't protect the protectors, you have anarchy. And if you've got anarchy, it's like the law of the jungle. It's those that are the most violent, vicious and angry people, some of who I've identified in this interview today, that will control the streets. Now, if Britain want anarchy, that's what they're going to get. If they don't, the mainstream media need to step back, start acting more responsibly, giving balanced views. When we get it wrong, yes, tell us we've got it wrong and we'll do something about it. And when we get it right, let's tell the public you have fantastic police officers, and we should not be heroes only when we're murdered. We should be heroes because we swear an oath to protect our neighbours and people that look to us for law and order and protection.
Norman, well, you've got my backing, you've got Talk Radio's backing, and I think everybody ought to back what you're doing with your fellow officers and former officers. Just to try to end on a slightly positive note, Sgt Ratana's shocking killing obviously was appalling. Do you think it might at least be the wake-up call that this nation realises now at last that all this nonsense supporting Black Lives Matter is a mistake, and that we regain our common sense on this issue?
Absolutely. I've dealt with so many murders where mothers and fathers have said, I hope my child is the last one that is murdered. I hope that this will be the wake-up call that will remind the mainstream media and everyone else the great risks that police officers take. And I want to finish off by saying it's National Police Memorial Day today. It's ironic that he is murdered 2 days before that. Just remember the great risks that police officers take, running towards danger when everybody's running away from it. Police officers must not, let me repeat again, only be heroes when they're murdered. They must be heroes for what they do. And I will not be condemning any one of the officers involved in what happened, this tragic incident at Croydon Police Station, because for them, life will change forever. Whatever part they played or didn't play, for the rest of their lives, day in and day out, they will remember they were at the scene of the murder of a colleague. And if there's lessons to be learnt, that isn't for today. That's after all of the inquiries. And don't forget, it appears that the search was carried out correctly. He was handcuffed behind. He was still handcuffed in custody. If this is one of those phenomenons that has happened, it can happen. We don't live in a perfect world.
It can happen. Norman, very powerful words. I thank you so much for your time and wish you all the best with your incredibly important endeavours. Thank you so much. That's Norman Brennan, their retired police officer. He's also the director of the Law and Order Foundation.